and then now this one's gonna load up, and you'll have 3 to however many other switches you have your profile on, playing the exact same game at the exact same time. Hey everyone, so today I want to do a quick video on game sharing. I know I have 2 other game sharing videos on my channel, but since the Nintendo Switch Lite is releasing later this week, I thought it'd be great to show you guys how you can run one digital game purchased through multiple Nintendo Switches. Since most of you will have multiple Switches in your household now, whether it be a secondary console for yourself or one for the kids. If you go digital with your games, you can actually play the same game on multiple consoles at the same time, as long as you're using it on the same profile, the profile that purchased the game. So this console right here is my Nintendo Switch. This is the primary Switch. So this one has my profile and my Nintendo ID linked to it. The eShop, it shows this Nintendo Switch as the primary Switch. These 2 switches here are my daughter's switches. Now my profiles are on here, but they're not as the primary account. So all I did was I created a new profile, and then I signed into the eShop, and instead of creating a new Nintendo ID, I just logged in with the information from this Switch, and it just shows my profile. Now when I go into the eShop, I can still make purchases, but it's not the primary Nintendo Switch. This is the primary Nintendo Switch. On these consoles here, I can re-download the games that I purchased on this Switch, and they can be played by this profile that purchased them on these 2 switches. So the primary account can be used to play the games that were purchased from the primary account on this Switch. With that being said, the primary Nintendo Switch can use any profile to play the games that were purchased through the primary Switch. So my daughter's accounts are linked to this Switch too, so it's the opposite. So my daughter, Lorelai, her Switch is this one, and it's the primary Switch for her. And then my daughter, Daphne, this is her primary Switch. And then on this Switch, Lorelai and Daphne's accounts are also on here, but there would be the secondary Switches for them. And then the same goes for myself. This is my primary, and on these Switches, they're the secondary. So, if you're going to have multiple Switches in your home with the Nintendo Switch Lite, you can make the Nintendo Switch Lite your primary Switch, or you can have your original Switch as still the primary Switch. So you would just create a new profile on the Switch Lite and then link your Nintendo ID. And now to play the games, you would need a online access, Wi-Fi, in order to pretty much create a handshake so that the console can know that no other Switches are playing that particular game or on that account. If multiple Switches are playing the same game or playing a game on the same account, it will suspend one of them. The way to work around that is to put the Switch in airplane mode, or to go away from an internet connection after the initial game launches. So I'll go ahead and show you guys an example of that. Let me see. I am going to, on this Switch, we'll put on Super Smash Brothers under my profile. Right now it's checking to see if the software can be played. Okay, so now the game is playing on this Switch, and then let's say my other daughter wants to play Smash Brothers also under my profile, or any of the other games that are on there that are under my profile, it will suspend this one. See, now this one's going to start playing Smash Brothers or any other game that's a digital purchase from this primary Switch, and it'll kick off the other Switch. The only one that won't get kicked off is the primary account. So if I were to start playing on this one, this one's going to get kicked off. So now this one will start playing, and this one's been suspended. Play is being suspended. Download software or download content may be being played on another console using the same Nintendo account. So since this is the primary account, if, let's say I'm going to go ahead and close these, and let's say I'm playing, and one of these secondary switches tries to get on, it's checking to see if the software can be played, and it's automatically just going to suspend the secondary switches. The primary switch will not be affected, so you don't have to worry about that switch if it's the primary one being kicked off. Now, there's a workaround around this. So my kids will take trips and they'll want to play one of the digital games, and they can all play at the same time. So what we'll do is, if we're leaving, they'll just log on, and as soon as they get in the car, they'll be fine because we're going to be going away from Wi-Fi. They won't kick each other off. If they're playing at home, all you have to do is we'll go ahead and we'll have to make sure this one's turned off first. And let's go ahead and we'll put this one in airplane mode. You're going to go ahead and turn that on airplane mode. And now there's no connection to Wi-Fi. So that one can be, since it's the primary switch, can be put on airplane mode at any time and load the game. These other ones, we're going to want to load the game first, and you got to do it one at a time, depending on how many switches you have. As soon as that initial load screen pops up to say that the game, it's already checked to see if the game can be played, just hold the home button and put that in airplane mode. And I want to show you guys that this one's going to load up too, and it's not going to suspend either software. Now that one's loaded up, and then we're going to go ahead and do the same thing for this one. Checking if the software can be played, and it can. This one, when it checks to see if the software is being played, it can't check because those aren't connected to the internet, so it thinks nobody else is playing. And then now this one's going to load up, and you'll have 3 to however many other switches you have your profile on playing the exact same game at the exact same time. And then if you have more switches than that or more profiles linked, just make sure you're in airplane mode. And there it is. 3 switches running Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. That sounds terrible. There they are. And let's see. Oh, so there is a time limit for this. It is 3 hours. After those 3 hours, it's going to want to check to see if the software can be played again. So there'll need to be an internet connection. It'll give you a 2.5 hour warning. And then once those 3 hours are up, it will suspend the software. So you either have to turn off the other ones and then connect this one to the internet again, or keep those on airplane mode and then have this one check again, or just save your game and turn it off. We've never had to worry about that time limit because the kids normally don't play that long anyway. But if you have your Nintendo Switch Lite or your secondary Switch with you, if you're going to be keeping your primary Switch at home, then you would have your Nintendo Switch Lite, and you would just need a Wi-Fi access in order to access your digital purchases. you have to do that every 3 hours unless you make your Nintendo Switch Lite your primary Switch, and then you keep your original Switch at home where there's always an internet connection, and then you don't have to worry about it, because then you can just play your digital games at all times. But since these are not my Switches, like this is my Switch and these are my kids, they're constantly being played at the same time. So that's where the airplane mode, or taking the consoles away from the internet, would come into play. But yeah, that's how you can have the same game playing at the same time on multiple Nintendo Switches. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments below. Until next time, bye!